Welcome back everyone. Today I want to do a deep dive on Floette. We started this channel with some theory crafting before the champions released, and now we're a week inside the game and I want to talk about Floette. If this is your first time watching my videos, I'm trying to do a different theme each and every day. We started with a different theme on each tier, and then after we hit Masters, we're doing about 5 to 6 games with a different team in Masters. I climbed from Ultra Ball to Masters by using Floette. Specifically, we used this team with Floette, Sneasler, Incineroar, Scarf-X Quadrille with Mold Breaker, Dragonite for Tailwind and Rotom Ghost. In the early metagame this was quite effective, a lot of people were not prepared even for the idea of Floette when we did this video. And Scarf-X Quadrille Mold Breaker with Focus Sneasler caught a lot of people off guard. I believe this was one of the best early teams I made, along with the Frostlass and the Glimmeron, but this is the best team you can go back and play. After making some videos on Mega Starmie, Mega Aggron, Mega Manectric, I realized that while making the videos I'm not climbing enough, and I'm okay with not climbing in general, but I want to give you the best video I can, which means I want to be in a decent rating so the teams I show you have a bit more of a backbone. Because if a team works in 2k Masters or more, it could work on a lower rating. And because right now I was at 1800 after the last video, I wanted to use something to climb back up and then we can use something fun again. So I started making Floette. This is the first draft. I'm not gonna go into details about EVs for the most part. All the teams you see here will be in the description, and there will be a code for one of those teams at the end of the video. So I made this. An aggressive Floette with a bit of bulk, Calm Mind, Dazzling Gleam, Draining Keys. The support here is mouse hold, follow me with taunt. The concept is use mouse hold, use follow me, use a Calm Mind and try to sweep. You have a Garchomp. Garchomp in general in this type of teams is the Sun team counter, and the Intimidate Punisher for the most part, specifically Incineroar. Rotom Ghost, or Rotom in general, because you will see a lot of Scarf Rotom in those teams, is mostly used for Electro Web as a form of speed control instead of Tailwind, and for the coverage they come with. In this scenario I wanted both speed control and something to hit Charizard and other stuff with a Hydro Pump. Aegislash is a Sneasler counter in general. Poltergeist usually heavily damages Sneasler, they can't hit you back except if they run a Throat Chop like we do. You have a decent matchup into Basculegion because usually they're faster and they cannot kill you before you stance change, and you kill them back with a Poltergeist. And even if you don't, because I've seen some really tanky Basculegions, you can clean them with a Shadow Sneak after. Sacred Sword is here so King Gambit doesn't kill this whole team. Last but not least, we're using Sneasler, Close Combat Directly Throat Chop Fake Out. Throat Chop was a meta call. You can use Rock Slide, you can use Protect, you can use Rock Tomb, you can do anything you like. This is Unburdened by the way. And this is Rough Skin. So this was the first draft. Then I moved on. I started seeing more Blastoise on the ladder, and I wanted to use some fake out protection next to Floette instead of mouse hold. So we went into this kind of composition. We're using Aegislash, Incineroar, Aerodactyl and Milotic to protect them from Intimidates. We got Tailwind, so we can choose between Tailwind or Electro Web if we want to. Leafstorm Scarf is here for Blastoise for the most part, also hits Milotic. In this case we're using Muddy Water, Icy Wind, Coil. This is a set I was experimenting with. In the last draft this is no longer the set, we replaced Muddy Water with Scald and Coil with Protect. I found it to be a bit more consistent. The concept for the rest of the team stays the same. We changed the set of Floette because I did not like Draining Keys, and we tried Light of Ruin. Max Speed, Max Special Attack, Modest with Light of Ruin, trying to get rid anything and everything by pressing Light of Ruin and praying that we hit. This works, but I think the higher you go, the less effective Light of Ruin is. So I believe after some drafts we moved away. Here, after playing this team, I didn't find enough reason to use Rotomo. It was good for the most part, but at that point I wanted something that hits aggron for a lot and a stronger Floette counter, so we went with this. The water Tauros here resists Rock Slide, which Rotom Hit doesn't. The Scissor resists Rock Slide, so we go from Mo and Incineroar to Tauros and Rotom Hit. And here we have a second Mega. This team, in my opinion, has a lot of potential, and you can take this team as is and use it right now, and it will be really good even in high elo. But after some more fiddling on the team builder, I believe I found something that's a bit more consistent. Here we have to talk about the next day. After I made those teams, I played the Scissor team 2 or 3 times and I went 2-1. Usually on a loss I stop playing unless I'm trying to seriously ladder. And I went to sleep and I wake up into this team. This team was used on a tournament, on an offline Japanese tournament, and it got first place. The Vs and the sets are guessed from the gameplay I've seen, but I don't think I'm far from them being correct. I'm pretty sure we're using a different melodic spread. I'm still using my spread because I know how to use it and I'm familiar with it, but the rest should be spot on. I believe this is the edge / set, and we're gonna make that small change in general. So let's talk a bit about this team. Here is the tournament. As you can see, first place Floette, second place Floette, fourth place Floette, and then you have a mix of teams up to 8th place with another Floette. One of the things we can take from this screenshot is that 7 out of 8 teams have Garchomp. Sun was still relevant. If you see 21.5% used Charizard, you can assume at least 90 of them were Y, especially if Venusaur is here. Garchomp was overall the most used Pokemon in that tournament, followed by Sneasler and followed by Incineroar. Looking at the top 8, you have 1, 2, 3 teams not using Incineroar and still doing good. You have one team not using either Sneasler or Incineroar, and that's the one that won. If you go back to the first pre-champions video I did, I was talking about how Milotic or Corviknight or Kingambit will be really relevant because Incineroar will be in the meta along other intimidators like Tauros, and how people will try to punish those intimidates by using competitive, defiant, mirror armor and stuff like that. And instead of using Incineroar, you will have a meta full of anti-intimidate users. This is a prime example of what I was talking about. Even the teams with Intimidate are still trying to run some sort of anti-intimidate. You will see here Kingambit. Most of those Garchomps are White Herb. Here we have Garchomp assuming White Herb with Kingambit, Garchomp, Kingambit. So we have this going on. The tournament results are here. I will put the link in the description so you can check it out on your own also. It has the social media of the players, so you can also check them out. Now, back to the teams. So, after this team won, and looking at those sheets and the usage rates and the teams, and the usage on the ladder, which you can also check, I wanted to use this team, and I actually did. The whole concept was to keep the tried and true core, which for me is Edge / Milotic plus a physical attacker. I didn't have Garchomp at the start before I hopped on ladder, but exactly before my first match I was like, you know what, we lose to Charizard. I can't afford to remove the Garchomp, so we went back to this. And I wanted to keep Tailwind on the team, and because I went with Whimsicott, I thought it would be a nice idea to complete the team with the Water, Grass, Fire core. We're using Typhlosion here with Charcoal. You can also use Carve. I went with Charcoal because I want to do the most I can on the teams that are weak to Typhlosion. But I believe Scarf is more flexible because you can play Scarf Typhlosion without running Whimsicott. With this set, you most likely want to run Whimsicott, or you want to position your Typhlosion really well after some icy wins from Milotic. So I played this team. I did some casual games and then I hopped on ladder. My first game on ladder was against Mega Floette, and my opponent decided that they didn't want to deal with the mirror matchup of Floette versus Floette and went with Agron. I led with Whimsicott and Floette, and the whole idea was to get a Tailwind and get a Calm Mind, and if I can't get one of those, it's gonna be fine. My opponent led with Agron. I used my Tailwind, I used my Calm Mind, and he went to Mega Agron and pressed Iron Defense. At that point, Anchor was the best possible move. So I use Anchor, and I start hitting whatever is next to Mega Agron with a +1 Floette. Until the Anchor was over, 3 Pokemon were dead and Agron was at about 40% because of Dazzling Chip. The reason I'm talking about that game is to explain how strong Floette is, because the whole concept of Typhlosion here was if we see Agron, we use Typhlosion, if we see Corviknight, we use Typhlosion. But after playing a bit with the team, I realized that our no special attack Floette, which is just modest, that's our special attack increase, with a full bulk which survives a heavy slam from Mega Agron at about 20%, with a +1 from a Calm Mind. This is unboosted, 30 to 35 to max HP, max special defense Agron. And let's put the nature also, 26.5 to 31. Now with a +1 from a Calm Mind, we go to 40 to 47%. And what they can do to us with a 32 and 12 on defense is 80% max with a Heavy Slam. Which means with 2 Moonblasts and some chip, you can kill an Agron. With 2 Calm Minds, you don't even need the chip. Depending how you position yourself, Agron is not an issue. And also Corviknight takes about the same. And what he can do back, if he is Iron Head, which most Corviknights are not, is about 40 to 49%. It's not even a 2-hit KO. Also on top of whatever Floette can do, Garchomp still deals a decent chunk of damage to a +0 or +2 Agron. And Aegislash also deals a decent chunk of damage with Sacred Sword, who ignores the stat changes. On top of that, we have Scald. This is not a lot, but it is something, because we have a Milotic with a 10 special attack and a modest nature. Using Scald, it deals 20 to 25 to Corviknight, and Agron takes, let's put the nature also, takes 25 to 30. This is some significant chip you can do, and we're not even counting any sort of competitive, because with competitive we're going up to 50 to 59. And there is also the chance of a burn for extra chip and even less damage, because Heavy Slam is affected by burn, as you can see here, which makes the Heavy Slams hurt even less on Floette. So we have a decent overall coverage to Agron, which is supposed counter in quotes, and the rest of the team handles anything else. And with this in mind, I dropped Whimsicott and Typhlosion. I dropped Typhlosion to begin with, and then I realized Whimsicott is a fairy and it's weak to sun, and I was like, you know what, we do not need Whimsicott here. Instead, I took the idea of Talonflame. Here we're using a different Talonflame item, because I don't think in this scenario we actually need it. We keep the same core of Aegislash, Floette, Milotic, Garchomp. We take the Talonflame, we get Dual Wing Beat with Flare Blitz, Tailwind Protect, and we use a Sharp Beak for the Dual Wing Beat. This makes Dual Wing Beat one-hit KO any Sneasler that's not like 32 hit points, 28 defense or something like that. It makes sure that we kill non-tanky Whimsicott, which is the most common set, If you check the battle data, I believe about 60 to 65 Whimsicoats are 32 special attack, 32 speed. Unlike our Whimsicott who doesn't die to most dual wing beats here. So we abuse the current usage of Whimsicott, we abuse the Snizzlers which also popped up. And because Snizzler, as I woke up today, is the first Pokemon in usage above Incineroar, I am trying Tsarina. Tsarina with Zen Headbutt to be exact, because we want to hit and kill Snizzlers. This is generic coverage. Dropkick has been buffed if you haven't seen on Champions from 65 I believe it was, or 70, up to 85. This enables Dropkick to pick up some KOs, and also the -1 in attack is pretty handy. We have low kick, so we can hit some King Gambits, triple axel to KO Garchomp and any other dragons, and the Zen Headbutt for the Snizzler. Zen Headbutt can be any move you want, depending on what you see the most in the meta. You can run knockoff, you can run U-turn, you can run Power Whip to ensure some of those kills on some more bulky water types. If you see a lot of SAS Basculegion, you can run Bullet Seed. Tsarina has a decent move pool. And talking about decent move pool, she also has some decent sets. You can run a different Tsarina set if you want. I'm trying Scarf because I like to play a bit more aggressively. But here we have this Tsarina set, which is 32 HP, 24 attack, 4 defense, 6 speed, Citrus Berry, Drop Kick, Triple Axel, Low Kick, Protect. You can replace either of those moves with Zen Headbutt if you want to hit Snizzler. The 6 speed ensures that Adamant Tsarina can outspeed Scarf Basculegion. And obviously if you're faster than Scarf Basculegion, you're faster than a Snizzler with no burden boost. So this is my final take for the team. From all these teams, obviously the winning one is really strong. I try to not use Basculegion in general because it's one of the most countered Pokemon. And because it is strong, people are trying to counter it. Same goes for Snizzler. Aegislash is a need that rose up with Snizzler. So with this team, we're going one step deeper into the anti-meta concept of this build with the Tsarina, and I believe it is viable. If this can work, then this can work better. That being said, all this team can work to get you to Masters. None of these teams is bad. It's just that those teams are more tailored to the high end of Masters. So this is the video I wanted to do today. Tomorrow we will go back to gameplay. I believe I will do a Floette video to follow this up, so we can have some extra gameplay. And I will see if I want to go up to 2K or 2100, so we can get some better quality videos in general. At this point of the video, I believe I should share the code. This is the code if you want to try the team on your own. These are the stats, as you can see on the Pokepast that will be in the description. And before I close this off, I would like to ask you to leave a comment if you like this kind of content. I know that essays are not my strong suit, but I think some people have enjoyed this kind of content. I would like your input. Thank you for joining. I will see you tomorrow.